No, it needs to be a green
That you
button
can,
because it's a go
look,
button.
that you
It's not
can
a stop
eject
button.
yourself.
We will call ourselves back into order after a brief recess. I apologize, we need to take just a couple of moments. And we're actually going to begin with Dr. Harshberger. Did you want to make your comments from here or from the podium?
Oh, I think I'll make them from here. That'll be all right.
So we're going to go around and make a few comments and then go from there. So Dr. Harshberger, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for the opportunity to say a few words as I leave council. I've been very blessed over the years. I retired 19 years ago in 2003 and ran for city council in 2004. And that was 18 years ago, and time flies when you're having fun, and most of the time. I've been on the council for 17 years, those years. I just thought now I'd just say a little bit of what makes or made Dick Harshberger run. I got interested in city government when I managed my friend Lincoln Lee's successful campaign for school board. And I managed that campaign, and I got all involved in that. And then Bill Yerrick, some of you might remember him. He and Olga are living large in Florida now and escaped Hurricane Ian. And Bill encouraged me to run for council. My history, what have I stood for all those years? But one thing was no party affiliations at the local level. I've never sought endorsements from either party because I don't think we should be thinking political parties at the local level. And this confused some people, I can say that, a lot, but that's the way it is. I'm a fiscal conservative and a social liberal, and you've heard me say that. My wife, Kathleen, has always says that I had nothing to gain and nothing to lose by serving on city council, and that's true. I'm a fiscal conservative because of a 10-cent movie show. When I was a kid, I did my chores Saturday morning, got a quarter for the week, and two tokens to go on the streetcar in town to the 10-cent movie show. But it wasn't 10 cents. It was 12 cents because city council in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, put a 20% tax, entertainment tax on that stuff. And I was incensed and stayed incensed about that. And I always said I got to a point where I could do something about that. I was going to do something about it. Well, I moved away from there, so I came here. So anyway, that's to give you an idea about that, you know. Religious tolerance. That's another thing I stand for. I grew up in a household where my grandmother and my aunt and my father were practicing Evangelical United Brethren. And my mother and my grandfather, her father, my two brothers and myself were practicing Roman Catholics. And we all got along. Never heard an argument centering around religion. So that's where I come from there. Social liberal. I'm a social liberal. I'm political tolerance. My father was a staunch Republican. My mother a committed Democrat. What they did in the voting booth was their own business, but that's the way they were. And my grandfather was chided in the history of Cambria County for having voted for Buchanan, who was a Democrat. But he was forgiven because it was a favorite son. And it said a number of Republicans had strayed from right paths. Racial equality. I first joined the NAACP in Pittsburgh in 1957. Later at Virginia Tech, I was director of the Management Development Center at Pamplin College. At that time, I served as chair of the Professional Development Committee of the Montgomery County chapter of the NAACP. All right, gender equality, I stand for that. I placed the first woman ever in the controller's division executive team for Johnson & Johnson in 1964. First woman and executive at the executive level. I also placed the first African American man at that executive level. In 1965, while on the faculty of the University of Connecticut, I established a program to mainstream women back into higher education. I thought this was a cool move, I hired the president of the League of Women Voters full-time to head up that program. And we had great fun doing that. We had a wonderful time. Of course, anybody who knows Kathleen knows I would not have survived 60 years of marriage if I didn't believe in gender equality. She sits right there, and you know, there you are. My advice to you, my parting shot, I'll take it from my wife Kathleen's book, and she took it from the philosopher Plato, who wrote it thousands of years ago. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. And that leads us to three words that might guide us: apathy, empathy, and transparency. Apathy. Look around. The biggest thing we fight in local government is apathy. When somebody is complaining, they aren't apathetic. So write them a letter or an email. Invite them to lunch and listen to them, which leads us to empathy. Get inside their heads and analyze what you find. See if you can recruit them to serve the city. Get inside their emotions and share them. Find their hot spots. Find common ground, and again, recruit them to serve the city. Transparency. Be open and above board. Never overpromise. That's a big problem I had because I'm such an optimist. I always have to fight against overpromising, you know. But never, ever, ever lie. It'll eventually come back to you. It's been a great honor and a privilege to serve on this council. I love this council here, this city manager who is not here right now, and all the wonderful people sitting out here that keep this city running so smoothly. I thank this city for allowing me to serve you. Thank you.
I just have to say thank you for all of your years of service, for your wisdom and guidance. The city of Radford and the citizens here are so much better off because of every effort you have made on their behalf. You have been a statesman for this community. You have helped move us forward. You have helped temper challenging times. You have been a true champion in every way, shape, and form, and we cannot thank you enough, and we owe you a debt we will never be able to repay. So we thank you very much, and any other thoughts or comments anyone wants to share?
Dr. Harshberger, you accomplished what is very difficult, I think, in that you live by the words that you preach, and specifically those of empathy and kindness. It has been a great privilege to be able to serve with you and to learn from you, particularly looking back on the 4 years that I have served on council. When I've made mistakes or when I have made bad ideas, you have corrected me and accepted apologies with grace, kindness, and you've taught me something every step of the way. Your expertise and the knowledge that you have brought cannot be matched. So it is, I'm very, very grateful that you joined us again. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
In some ways, I'm not sure that this could have worked out any better for you to have an encore after your many years of service, and I think that worked out beautifully.
It has certainly served us well.
Absolutely. Anything else?
Well, I am emotional, and I'm sorry, because I'm not known to be terribly sensitive. I just would like to say that I hope that this city is fortunate to have men and women of the ilk and character to continue to love this city as you have, and it has been a real pleasure. You're actually one of my favorite people on the planet for all the reasons that they've stated. So thank you for agreeing to step up in this kind of unusual situation and be a guiding light to all of us.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Thank you for your kind words.
I'm not even kind.
And I will say this, we could be premature in saying farewell depending on how everything goes on November 8th. You may be sitting right here on November 14th and again in December, so we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. All right, Naomi, do you have anything?
You know, I don't think that anything that I can say could follow that, so I will say nothing at all.
There you go. Jesse?
I'm good.
Charlie?
Well, I certainly have nothing that can follow that, but I do have a comment or two. One, if ever the city decides to have an ombudsman, I think we have our person. And I would hope that you'd step up when needed, and I think he would. I know he would. And so however things go, if tough times come and you need somebody who can talk you through, Dr. Harshberger is someone who can do it. I also have, every time this man tells a story, for as long as I've known him, I'm shocked at the 6 points of connection, and this one may blow you away. For years, my wife's grandmother of Portage, Pennsylvania, told this story about when they hiked the rakes at the Johnstown movie house. They had driven all the way from Portage to see a show and didn't have enough money.
Yeah, that's right. 12 cents.
Well, I think millions of great decisions came from a matter of 12 cents. So there you go. And I just want to say thank you to both Dick and to Charlie for stepping up. This is our last meeting before elections will take place. For those of you wondering why are we talking about this way, there are 4 council seats in the role of mayor that are up for election. The way the process will work is the top 2 vote getters will be seated in the 4-year seats, and because we had 2 resignations that Charlie and Dick have filled, the next 2 vote getters will be in those seats. But depending on how all this works, they are actually appointed until someone is both elected and qualifies for the role. So you may be here in November and December. You may not. You may be here. Some of you may be here even longer. You never know.
So those watching online, this is your cliffhanger.
We can't campaign. So, but having said that, I did have a couple of thoughts as we've been going through a lot of things with the city, and tonight is a perfect example. Our investment in this community has been unsurpassed over the last 4 years. That we have looked at every single area that we could try to accommodate, whether it be recreation, education, infrastructure, simple beautification, whatever it happens to be, we've tried to find a way to make it work better. We've worked with our staff to work on those things, and everybody has put in tireless hours as we've continued to strive to be even better and even better. And I think that it's noticeable throughout the entire community. From a public safety perspective, we have worked with our police, with our fire and EMS to, again, leave no stone unturned to try to make sure this community is safe. What we worked on tonight is a perfect example of a new idea to try to make sure we can be even that much better as we move forward. I think this council in particular has tried to reach to everyone in this community to say, what can we do, and let's find a way to make it happen. And I'm really proud of everyone that has served, and really proud of all of you for being a part of this effort, and I'm proud of our community for stepping up to help us find those pathways and to help us make those connections as we move forward. We do have some additional business we have to do tonight. I have 2 shout-outs I have to make. Craft and Draft put on by Mountain Trotter Arts this weekend was incredibly amazing. It was overwhelming, the support and attendance that we had for that program. Congratulations to everybody involved. Thank you. As we move forward, one of our hopes is that we have more programs like that that may be slightly outside the responsibility of our tourism group and our group, even though they support it, but that enriches the lives of our citizens in a way that brings people to Radford, that enhances quality of life and continues to move us
Mr.
forward.
Mayor, I have to add something to that, if I may.
Please.
The biggest breakthrough I've ever seen in a craft and draft, they ran out of beer.
They ran out of lots of stuff
They
because they
ran
were
out of
so
beer.
well attended. So I'm pleased that everything went so well, and I know we all are thrilled to see our citizens succeed in that way and to see our community move forward in that way. I also want to say a big thank you to the folks with the Farmers Market who wrapped up last week since we last met and did a wonderful job with that program. It has only gotten bigger and stronger every year. There's a million other things going on, a million wonderful things. We can't touch on them all tonight, but thank you to everybody for continuing to move Radford forward and to continuing to help make this the citizens of this community stronger. At this time, we will take a motion to move into closed session. I'll actually make the motion. We need to move into a closed session for discussion or consideration of the acquisition of real property for a public purpose or of the disposition of publicly held real property where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body, Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A3. Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A3. Also, discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of a specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any public body, and evaluation of public performance of departments under Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1. There's a motion on the table. Do we have a second? A motion and a second to go into closed session. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we'll be back in a few minutes.